what I want to talk to you a little bit about is more the mood in the community and what you kind of feel is happening and what you feel is going on with people who live here and work here and who frequent the park.
Well, I think it was the mood maybe that motivated Bear Creek Council to make a post on social media, because we were feeling that polarization. Definitely the concern that there were people out there maybe acting against the wolves. We'd heard rumor. There was a lot of rumor that people were baiting, rumor that Fish, Wildlife and Parks was going to kill the wolves, and we feel as an organization that knowing the facts, dealing with the facts, is the best way to kind of squash that. And it was serious enough and concerned us enough that we thought that it would be to our advantage to kind of put something out that was like, this is what we actually know. These are the facts, and we'd like to be sort of the clearinghouse for getting information out there that's helpful. We don't really take sides. We weren't taking sides in this issue. We were just trying to help people in the community be informed.
Cook City is an even smaller community than Gardner, maybe only 100 people year-round. So what do you feel is the dynamic there? What's going on in that small community?
Well, I would say, almost needless to say, we don't, as Gardnerites, I don't know that many people in Cook City, but our communities are very much tied together by the northern range of Yellowstone. And so wolf tourism is something that is a benefit to both of our communities. And so, we don't pretend to speak on their behalf or to be telling them what to do. I think if we have any connection right now with Cook City, our plan is to reach out to them and see if there's some way that we can help. Our organization can help them with getting information out. But I don't know.
Well, out in Cook City, Jan told me that she felt, this is the woman at Buns and Beds, the B&B and the little restaurant there. Yeah. So she told me that she feels it's maybe 20% of the community's residents are anti-wolf, and the other 80% see it as a vital part of their tourism economy. Yeah. And so that leads to tensions, especially in a small group like that. Sure. Are you at all worried, or do you see concerns about how this social media reaction to the killing of this wolf has kind of gone worldwide?
So the killing of 926.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly status quo. I mean, we would expect that to happen. And that's sort of the reason that happens is kind of the end result of having people come here and learn about the wolves. It's sort of what would you call it? That tourism is vital in our community, because so many people have come, and they come here because they want to see wolves. And when they come here and they see them, they get excited and they want to know more, and they do connect and bond with certain wolves, especially ones that they might have seen. And she happened to be one that is commonly seen or was commonly seen, so it didn't surprise me at all. My friends from France wrote an email. Oh, this is terrible. I have a picture. This is the picture I took when I was here last time. So it's sort of it's something that links not just in our community, but in our country and around the world. It's amazing.
You're a guide. You guide people wolf watching. Has your business been affected by this?
My business is pretty small, so I wouldn't say that it has been affected. And I focus on geology, but all of my clients, when they come here, want to see a bear or a wolf, preferably as much wildlife as possible. I can't say that it's directly impacted my business at this stage, no.
Now, the wolf that was shot was 926 was shot legally, yes, and was shot outside of the park. Yes. So there's no law broken here. But do you think that this is the sort of thing where either there shouldn't be a wolf quota in these areas so close to the park, or people should voluntarily restrain themselves?
Voluntarily restrain themselves. I don't think that's going to happen. Well, you know, I think that Yellowstone wolves should be considered special or a subset of the general wolf population because of their value, not only to tourism, but to science. So many of the wolves that have been taken legally in the hunt have been collared wolves. And when you lose that, you're losing a tremendous amount of data. And I'm not sure that that's something that people necessarily think about. I believe that we should have quotas. It would be nice if that quota was 0 when it comes to Yellowstone wolves in those areas just outside the park. And one of the things that's unfortunate is that the hunting season coincides with a season that wolves naturally start moving around. We're just before the breeding season. You know, those pups have been in the park and they've been taking care of them, but now they're old enough to travel around. And so it's very natural. Cook City is a natural corridor for wolves to travel through, as is the Gardner area. We have wolves around here as well. So it's very natural for them to leave the park, but they don't know they're leaving the park. And so then they become hunted. And it's just an unfortunate kind of clash of human regulations and the hunting in general, but and their seasonality. So
there's one more tag out there. There's one more permit between now and March in that zone. What happens when a second wolf is taken, especially if it's known to be a Yellowstone wolf?
Well, it's going to cause more angst, and it'll be very unfortunate. And I think another thing that's very unfortunate is that if it's not taken until late in the season, there's a possibility that it could be a female that's pregnant. And not only will we lose that wolf, but we'll lose whatever pup she might have been carrying. And I know that's happened in the past. So we had asked at one time as an organization to end the hunt at an earlier time so that wouldn't be a possibility. Because there's that whole month. Around February 14th is the middle of February is when they will be breeding. And so, there's a whole month there that's a possibility.
You talked a little bit earlier about, and you talk in the post on Facebook, about things that people can do to maybe control where the wolves go, both in Silvergate and Cook City, and maybe around Gardner here too. What are some of those things?
Well, I don't know that we can control what the wolves do, but we all live in a wild place. I mean, even Bozeman is a wild place. And so we have to be aware and take responsibility for interactions that we could inadvertently cause with wildlife that would be deleterious to the wildlife. There has been a very, very successful program in the Gardner area called Bear Aware Gardner. And through funding that was funneled through Bear Creek Council, we were able to distribute bear-proof garbage canisters to residents, and then ultimately to businesses. And so we have less problem with bears coming in the fall and getting into garbage, which just brings more bears. So it's that kind of a mentality that it really is our human responsibility to do things to avoid those kinds of conflicts. And so, with wolves, certainly they don't like other canids. So if you have a dog or dogs out in the yard, it's not like they're an attractant, but if their paths cross, you can be guaranteed that there's going to be a problem. So if you live in Gardner, if you live in Cook City, I have a dog, a small dog, and I typically step outside, especially at night, if I have to let him out. And we need to take that very, very seriously and make sure that we don't feed the dog outside or leave food around in any way that would attract them, especially if we, know that they're around or at certain times of the year when it's more of an issue than at other times.
So you really see this as an issue. People should take the same kind of responsibility toward wolves and our human interactions with them as we do for bears.
Absolutely, and mountain lions, and yeah, there are a lot of different species around here that we can interact with. I had a raccoon on my porch, and he was attracted because I had birdseed. Well, that wasn't his fault. I live in a river corridor. It was my fault, so the birdseed went away. Not because I have a problem with raccoons, but he shouldn't be interacting with me and my dog. So that was my responsibility. I had attracted him. It was my fault.
You know, I spoke with a local hunting guide who does not guide for wolf hunting and does not agree with killing wolves close to the park here.
Good.
Some hunters do. Do you see this as a real outdoors versus hunting standoff here, or is there a possibility to reach some common ground to somehow make the hunters happy and people who are environmentalists or outdoor enthusiasts happy?
I think we have to find common ground. I don't really think we have a choice. And in our community, in Gardner, tourism, that's hunting as well. I mean, the people that year-round make their living in these different ways that are connected to this amazing place that we live in. And I'm not a hunter, but I respect that, and I respect people who guide and who do that with the proper ethics. And I think absolutely we need to come together, all of us, and work together to find some kind of common ground. And I honestly don't think that I can think of too many situations where if you try hard enough, you can't find a little bit of common ground.
How might you do that?
How might you do that?
Yeah.
I thought there was an interesting meeting that was had in Gardner not too long ago concerning the mine up in Jardine. And I thought it was very interesting because the people who are normally on the other side of maybe the wolf issue or some of the conservation issues that we advocate for were right there in the room with us. And we saw that also with the congressional delegation, that all of them were together to help fight against the mine. And as you're probably aware, that was a very successful endeavor. So I don't know, you start in a situation like that. We obviously have common ground in our community.